Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another Elden Ring build video. Now we just recently got a new patch that fixed some of Elden Ring's, well, broken weapons. Looking at you, Lightning Perfume. And I've always been a fan of Bleed and Frost builds. I don't usually cover meme or mid-tier builds unless I'm doing a role playthrough or a challenge run. I like to show you guys the good stuff. Now on my first DLC run, I did complete it all with a blood-infused godskin peeler. And with the Blood Fiend's arm being slightly nerfed, I wanted to see what other DLC weapons and items can help buff bleed builds in this DLC. By the way, Blood Field's arm is still usable. It's just not broken anymore. Now normally I would say that the Scavenger's Curved Sword's power stance is a strong option. But there's actually a better version of this now. And that is the Falx Curved Sword that you get from the Hornsent boss fight. And the nice thing about this weapon is that you get to power stance them with just one all by itself. Now, why this weapon over dozens of other bleed weapons that we could be using right now? Well, its Ash of War is absolutely twisted is why. The initial Ash lunges forward and does a quick 2-hit slash. Against an enemy you can punish, you can do a follow-up for an 8-hit Zanzibar Forgive Me combo. This procs the multi-hit talismans and usually inflicts bleed. I'm hitting for about 7,000 on a full combo, and we can make that even higher if we wanted to. More on that later. Another thing I like about this weapon is even though the Ash of War is powerful, you can easily kill a boss with just light attack spam, and it has the same moveset as the other power stance curved swords. Now let's start with the stat spread. At rune level 150, I have 60 vigor, 24 mind, 30 endurance, 30 strength, 70 dex, and 15 faith, so that we can use a body buff. And if you wanted to, you can take 10 points away from strength and put them into faith if you also want to use the Golden Vow incantation alongside Flame Granting Strength for even more damage. This weapon has a B scaling and dexterity, so if you're leveling past 150, once you get to this to about 80, you can dump extra points into strength for a little more damage, even though it only has D scaling. For the talismans, we want to start with the multi-hit talismans. The Rotten Wing Sword and Millicent's Prosthesis both buff our light attack spam and Ash of War combo, so these are pretty mandatory for the build. For our third slot, I like to use the Alexander's Greatsword Talisman to boost our Ash of War by another 15%. And for the last slot, we have 3 good options. If you're going for max damage, go ahead and use the Lord of Blood's Exaltation for another 20% damage whenever you proc bleed. If you need more survivability in the fight, I recommend either the Dragon Crest Great Shield for damage negation, or the Crimson Seed Talisman for an extra 30% heal every time you use your flask. The first slot in our Wondrous Physics should be the multi-hit tier. A third multi-hit effect with our talismans is going to further boost our damage into the insane territory. For the second slot, I actually have a few options. If you want to maximize your damage, the Bloodsucking Crack tier increases our damage by an additional 20%, at the cost of losing 20 HP per second. That's a bit risky if you don't know the boss's moveset. But 20% isn't something to dismiss right away. With some healing effects from incantations or an offhand like the Icon Shield, you can offset the life loss over time pretty effectively. But if that isn't something you like, then the stamina tier is a classic option for these power stance builds. Faster stamina regen is always great, especially after rolling into a 6-strike combo. If we had a 5th talisman slot, I would 100% would be using the new Turtle Talisman, but that kind of effect on a physic we'll have to do. Or, as a last option I'll give here, the new Deflect tier is actually pretty good if you'll make use of it. Being able to perfect parry a boss instead of rolling has been really fun for me. This isn't a guard counter build, so it definitely shines on one of those better, but it's still usable here if you want to. For the armor set, I recommend the White Mask for an extra 10% damage whenever a bleed proc happens. The rest is up to you. Just try to keep your poise as high as possible if you aren't interested in light rolling. I am wearing the chest piece of Radon and 2 pieces of the Death Knight armor set for 57 total poise. Plus this like gold combo actually looks pretty good in game in my opinion. So there you have it, everything you need to rip and shred your way through Elden Ring, as well as the Shadows of the Erdtree DLC. And here's a nice spot to take your screenshot of the build now. If you made it this far, consider subscribing for more Elden Ring builds and challenge runs. Until next time, peace.